Yo, 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 what is up, guys? Happy Friday. Welcome back to another Thompson's 2 Cents. I'll be on the mic today, Larry Thompson, resident CMT, and sometimes I'm a little nerdy CPA also. What a week in the markets, right? We're going to break it down. And this week, the theme is all gas, no brakes. I've heard enough pontification about the CPI, the PPI, the FBI. I'm over it, guys. I'm over it. I just want to look at charts. So this week, we're going to do 20 charts, 20 minutes, get you guys out of here. I'll show more charts this week than people probably look at in a year, all right? In a month. Everybody wants to talk about some inflation numbers and things like that. The market tells us what's going on. We can just look at the market. We don't have to overcomplicate it, okay? So let's go ahead. Gene, let's get ready to kind of rip through these charts. So if you guys are ready, let's get it. All right, first chart here we have is just a general overview of the market, S&P 500, right? Don't overcomplicate it. We have a weekly chart, right? You see the V recovery, you see the base, you see another base. What do we do this week? Another weekly closing high, right? Momentum is in the market, RSI 64, S&P members more than 50% are above their 200-day. So longer term, we have a longer term uptrend. Right? These weekly moves, these intraday moves, don't sweat them too much, right? You still should be thinking opportunistically about the market. You can look at the warning signs, but understand in a bull market, warning signs aren't a reason to get out of the market, right? They're just problems for the market to solve. And a lot of times those problems that the market is trying to solve, if you give it time, it will solve them, right? And if it doesn't, it will no longer be a bull market. So this is the first chart we're just highlighting, still bullish the market. That's why I'm going to show you guys 20 individual setups that we can kind of rip through. So let's get to it. First chart here, LIT, right? Lit. It's lit out there. It's lit out there in the markets, guys. This is a beautiful, beautiful looking chart. What do we have? We have horizontal support. We have the vertical trend line breakout. We have this little peekaboo, right? Peekaboo. One more time. Peekaboo. And this little peekaboo pattern. And what do you see about this peekaboo pattern, right? You see the breakout, and then we saw the pullback. And what happened with the pullback? RSI stayed above 50. The bulls stayed in control. We didn't get oversold during the pullback, and we built this scoop and score pattern, and the peekaboo now has follow through. And if you get it, right? And this is what I like to see in the market. I like to see those peekaboos have follow through. And this is an area that isn't overbought, that isn't extended, right? It's not in the S&P 500 really heavily. So this is a way to diversify. I thought it was a great name to get this started with. Next chart, Biotech, right? Biotech looks great, right? Just even as a whole, XBI looks good. Hand up. I thought XBI looked like crap for a while. I thought it was going to roll over. I thought those names were just rallying on a tactical basis. There were still some individual charts I liked, and this is one of them, right? Arcutis Biotherapeutics. I think they're trying to solve the world, trying to solve cancer, world peace, all those types of things, all at once, right? That's what they're all trying to do, and I hope they do it. I really do. I hope they create some drug that allows my muscles to get bigger and my waist to get leaner and all those types of things. So Arcutis Biotherapeutics, one of the biotechs that sticks out to me, above that IPO AVWAP, building this base, has this little consolidation pattern that's now breaking out. Last thing I want to highlight here, look at this RSI. Just constantly screaming accumulation underneath the surface. So I like this name above 15. I'm already long it. It's already been a chart I've been sharing, whether that's Thompson 2 Cents, my weekly blogs, or whether that's on Twitter, but Arcutis Biotherapeutics, a name I like long here. Next chart. Biotherapeutics, a little real estate. We're just sprinkling a little everything in today. This is a little chart buffet, right? So CBRE, this is in your real estate group. We have this base breakout, consolidation, and then that little peekaboo, right? Peekaboo. Similar to that peekaboo pattern that we had with lit, right? Just a consolidation that's breaking out, strong RSI. You see the RSI staying above 50 during that pullback. Leadership in real estate, a boring area of the market you don't hear anyone talk about. I love to see those types of patterns play out. So CBRE Group, above above this breakout zone, right? This 158 area. I'm looking for this to continue to resolve higher. It's a little bit of a high flyer, but I would not be in it if it gets back in this range because it's probably a failed breakout. But overall, good looking chart. Let's go to the next one. For you folks, this is probably the opposite of biotherapeutics, right? The opposite of biotechs. This is fat tech, right? This is fat tech, lazy tech technology here, DoorDash. So you guys can get your Krispy Kremes delivered on time. All right, look at DoorDash. Beautiful looking chart because we know our Americans love our Krispy Kreme. You see that golden red light, that glazed light is on, right? Them freshly glazed donuts. Right, I'm in South Carolina, so we have a bunch of them around. And when I see that sign, skirt, I whip that car around. So DoorDash, beautiful looking chart here. You have this base on base, right? Base breakout. And then you have this retest. And RSI's holding 50. It's right at 50. So it's this is 248 level. So DoorDash, I'll be adding exposure if we get back above 250. And this kind of the low of this of yet today would kind of be my stop out. So I like DoorDash overall as an individual chart. It's a name I think you can go long Monday, right? We get above 250. It's a name you can go long. All right, guys. Got a little fat tech, a little real estate, a little biotech. Let's go across the pond, right? Let's go to China, right? So looking at China, this is a slept on area of the market also. Once again, we have this peekaboo. You have this all-time high AVWAP. You have this opening AVWAP. And you just have a beautiful consolidation that's breaking out. So while some areas of the market might be overbought, there's other areas of the market that are just now breaking out. And so you have clean risk rewards in names like this against this $33 to $31 range. That would be your risk level in something like KWEB, China Internet ETF. And you're long all day. Set a trailing stop in something like this, right? I love this reversal, this turnaround. There's a fundamental shift that's taking place that I don't think enough people are talking about in China. So keep China on your radar. It's an area of the market I'll be talking more about. And once again, it's some catch-up type trades, right? You got a little mustard on this chart, and then you also have the catch-up. So I like some of these catch-up trades, and so China's one of them. Next chart we'll talk about here. Little nuclear, right? Probably not good to go from China to nuclear. It might be a little, that might not be pro bono. That might not be kosher, as they say. But overall, I like the looks of Oklo still. This has just been a leadership group of the market. And I think it's something that could continue to lead the market, right? It's an area of the market that I think nuclear is a secular trend. And right, Trump's meeting with Putin right now this week, right? Prayers for that. Trump and Putin in a room. Prayers for that. So I like Oklo here. You have this base on base, similar to that DoorDash setup. And so we want to hold this $70 area. I think 65 you maybe set as a stop just in case you get a failed breakout or failed breakdown. But either way, I like the nuclear theme overall. SMR is another name in this area of the market. Beautiful looking chart, clean risk reward. So I want to kind of see it dig in here. And if it doesn't, that's information. But right now I haven't added to my position at all, but I'm looking to add if we kind of stick this as support. So you guys in any nuclear? Let's see what the chat's up to. See if the chat's in any nuclear. Doesn't look like it. Sad. All right, let's get to the next chart. All right. Rigetti Computing, another area of the market that looks pretty decent is some of these quantum names, right? They're setting back up again to break back out. Rigetti is one of them. You have this all-time high AVWAP that we've cleared. You have this consolidation pattern, right? You can call it a pennant, a triangle. Don't get caught up in those names. The only reason those names exist was to quickly identify something. It's not because the name itself had any meaning, right? It was just to quickly identify something like a consolidation pattern. You have this breakout and now you have this consolidation. Above 1650, probably the low from this week is where I would set my stop. 16 and above, 1650 and above, I think is an area that might break back out of this consolidation. Maybe you look at calls too in something like this. But overall, I like Rigetti Computing. Rocket Lab, off to the moon. RKLB, beautiful looking chart. Big base breakout, and now we have this consolidation. You have RSI in that bullish regime, which we love to see, right? Sticking, right? So it kind of means during this pullback, the bulls have stayed in control. And then today, you had an upwick. So I like this consolidation. It gives you this clean risk reward against the low of the week, say 43 bucks, right? Look for a breakout. I would wait for a breakout, but I think Rocket Lab overall just been a leader in the market. Look for it to resolve higher here. Name to keep on your radar. Old Faithful, digital gold, as they say, right? IBIT, iShares Bitcoin Trust. I like to share this one because you can put this in your Roth and not get taxed on your capital gains. So this is one of those names I like in that type of positioning, right? No, not financial advice, but as a nerdy accountant, something I like to avoid is taxes on areas that can be high flyers. And one of the ways you take advantage of that is buying IBIT in your IRA. So your Roth IRA, to be specific. So once again, base breakout consolidation. You have a little bit of this peekaboo pattern, right? And then the peekaboos kind of come back to this 66 area, and it hasn't, right? If this resistance could turn into support, we could see a rocket ship here. And I like RSI being in this bullish regime. And I like the fact that I feel like people are now focused on other areas, right? Because we might see the rotation into some of these small caps and biotechs, but you can own both, right? That's the beauty of the market. That's why I wanted to go through 20 charts this week. It's because there's a lot of charts that look good. There's a lot of clean levels to manage risk against. And if these fail, that's information. So you should at least be watching them to see if leadership fails. Okay, something's going on. So IBIT, beautiful looking, shaping up. I would be in it as long as we remain above 65. And I don't want to see this RSI kind of get under 40, but overall, a nice pattern and constructive price action. Ethereum. Ethereum's been smacking Bitcoin around on a relative basis. This what's at like 4,000 right now, right? Up 100% over the past since the April lows, right? And ETHA is a way you can play that inside of your Roth or other ways, right? If you want that crypto allocation in traditional sense, traditional markets, right? That TradFi markets, the Finance Bros markets, the Patagonia Vest markets, right? So ETHA, iShares Ethereum Trust, beautiful base. You have the breakout, and now we're kind of seeing it pull back. Look for 30 to be the area that finds support, right? That would be the area where we get support around 30. You're working off some overbought conditions, which is fine. That happens. We saw it happen back in May to July, right? Or sorry, June, July. We were working off some overbought conditions, right? I would like to see that pullback. Might not get it all the way down here, but that's the area where I would be paying attention to add some exposure to ETHA, Ethereum Trust. Let's keep going. All right, let's take a trip to the psychedelic space, right? So PSIL, psychedelics ETF, right? Just heads up, I don't believe this has a large volume share float, right? This isn't investment advice. This is just a chart that I like. It's a chart to monitor. What we did here is we have the opening AVWAP. We have this base pattern, and we can see all the resistance, right? We're working through that resistance, and that's why we like these basing patterns, right? You just work off this resistance. You climb that wall of worry. We get above this IPO AVWAP, right? Say 18 bucks. You have to be long in this area of the market, right? This is a big trade, I think. I think it's an easy vacuum up to 40, right? That's a double. I think the stock can double if it gets above 18. It goes 18 to 40. So psychedelics, an area of the market that I think can take a pretty good trip, right? 100% is pretty good. So I'm in South Carolina, not a psychedelics area of the country, but I do like this ETF. All right, let's go from that from drug trips to rocket ships with Tesla, right? So Elon Musk, SpaceX, yada yada yada. This is a beautiful looking chart, right? I like the way this pattern is forming in Tesla. You have this base and you have this downtrend that's broken out, right? You have that peekaboo, right? So similar to that pattern in LIT we looked at earlier. Let's see, right? We've got above this all-time high AVWAP. We're above the 200-day, right? And then we're retesting that 200-day. So I think we hold this at 325 area. You buy this all day, right? We probably stick this, and then Tesla's back to the races, back to all-time highs. So another area of the market I think we see maybe see that rotation into is something like Tesla. It's hard to bet against Elon Musk over the long term. If you zoom out on a chart like this, he hasn't been a guy you've wanted to bet against, no matter what you think about him. So I like this chart. I like this peekaboo pattern. I like Tesla against that 325 area to kind of long. And then if it fails, right, that's also information. But Tesla, another chart we like. Amazon, right? So we go from Elon to Jeff Bezos, right? The billionaires row here. Beautiful looking setup, right? Don't get caught up in the pattern, but something like Amazon is forming this, what many will call a inverse head and shoulders pattern, but just think of it as a basing pattern, right? Just a basing pattern, right? We had a large base, the smaller cup and handle type pattern, and against 230, if we can see some follow through to the upside here, you're silly not to own Amazon. And if Amazon and Tesla are breaking out, two of the largest stocks in the world, can't be bearish the overall market because we know the S&P 500, right, is very heavily weighted towards those top 10, 20 names in it. So Amazon, another name, keep on your radar to watch because if this fails and that Tesla one fails, the market might be vulnerable from a cap weighted perspective. But overall, I think this is going to break out. I think this is a bullish pattern setting up. So let's see some follow through above 230 here in Amazon. And maybe Jeff Bezos can get himself another yacht. Next chart, right? Something off the beaten path here. We have Genius Sports. Beautiful base pattern. This is a name, once again, I wrote about it a couple weeks ago on the blog, Thompson 2 cents. Be sure to check it out. But you have this IPO AVWAP. You have this turnaround. We retested it, and then we've kind of been off to the races since in something like Genius Sports. Also, peep the top right here, this bullish RSI. Just beautiful, constructive price action. And in stuff like this, when you just have clean turnarounds, right, it just gives you clean access to names, right? It just gives you a clean setup, clean way to make money in the market. So I'm already long this, right? It's a little bit, I've been long since like 10-ish bucks, talking my book a little bit, but we had 3 up weeks in a row. And yeah, just something I continue to hold, maybe set a trailing stop or wait to add on a pullback. But overall, I think this is something that gets back to 25 bucks overall. Genius Sports. Piggybacking, right? So these base patterns that I like, as you can see, there's a lot of them in the market. Something like Lemonade. Shout out to Gucci Mane. If you guys grew up kind of when I grew up, Lemonade was a big jam by Gucci Mane. If you hadn't, take the minute right now. I'll give you guys 5 seconds. Look up Gucci Mane Lemonade. Great song. Save that for later. Okay. This is an insurance company. Nothing to do with Gucci Mane, but we have that IPO AVWAP. Broke above it this week. So pay attention, right? This beautiful base on base pattern. And I think this thing's back to all-time highs, right? And that's just what I see. I see this RSI 50 turning into support. We have an overbought reading. So maybe we pull back to this AVWAP and then you load the boat. Load the boat here at 48 bucks. So it could see a little pullback, a little fighting here like it did over here. But overall, you can see the constructive trend change underneath the surface, right? The cruise ship has changed direction. Now it's whether or not the speedboat maybe pulls back for a little bit, but the cruise ship has changed direction. Next chart. I talked about biotechs. I like 2 of them, right there. I like more than 2 of them, but I think owning XBI, no reason to if you're good at looking at charts, right? That's one of the skills of technical analysis is you can just dig underneath the surface of charts and you can see where strength is within. Just flip through them all. Download a list of the holdings of XBI. Go through the charts one by one. No one can replace doing the work for you, right? That's something you got to do. So this is one of those charts, ZBIO, Zenith Biopharma. I think they're also trying to solve the world, create world peace, cancer, all those good things. Once again, this base, right? The cruise ship has changed direction. Speedboat pulled back a little bit, and we're setting up here. We get a breakout on Monday above 17. You own this thing all day, right? I'm already long, hand up, but I'm looking to add more exposure, right? Average into those winners, average into those trades that you have conviction in. But you guys can go on my Twitter and look, type in ZBIO at Hostile Charts. It's a chart I've been long, and I just continue to like it. So keep an eye out for those biotechs, guys. Another base. Notice the theme here. There's a lot of good looking bases in the market, and SRAD is one of them. And Sports Radar Group looks beautiful. Beautiful base against 30 bucks. You own this all day against 30, maybe even 28, but beautiful base breakout. Strong, strong positioning here. The cruise ship has changed direction, right? It's already up a ton, but it might just be getting started. This looks like Peloton used to look. It looks like Hood, what Robinhood used to look like. Pull up those charts. This is what those charts looked like before they did what they did. So SRAD, another name to keep on your radar. No pun intended. Sport Radar Group, SRAD. Beautiful looking chart. All right, guys. I sound pretty bullish, right? But there's a lot of individual charts I like. If there's something that's bearish about the market, it might be short-term breath. People are going to fight you all day on it, but you can't deny the fact that percent above the 20-day continues to make lower highs. Just a fact. Breath short-term is not strengthening. Will it turn into a problem? Not if Tesla, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta, not if they're doing well. But this is just something to keep an eye on. This is my non-individual chart setup. Just keep an eye on this percent above the 20-day. This can be fuel, right? It could be fuel for that next leg higher, but I want to break this downtrend. And I also want to see the percent above the 200-day catch that 70 level, right? So I think when you look underneath the surface, the market isn't extended, right? Maybe a few names within it are, like maybe some of the large caps, but underneath the surface, there's plenty of opportunities. And maybe that's what the trade is, right? The trade is to look underneath the hood at some of the trades you can place. And that was the point of this week. Let's show you 20 charts, rewatch this video, put it on 1.5 speed, and you can see some of those charts that I like. And there's plenty more out there. So with that, guys, I think that was a little over 20 minutes. Just wanted to plug some of my stuff that I write. I do this because I love it, right? And I do a lot of it, right? So I'm looking at the markets every single day, thousands of charts over the course of a week, and I put out work almost every day of the week. So Sunday, right, you can check out the Sunday stock list. Tuesday, I do a Thompson 2 cents, quick little post. Same thing with Thursday, Thompson 2 cents, quick little post, just a quick little knack on what's going on in the market. Genius Sports was one of those trades I put in there. Friday, I go live, and then Saturday is Hostile Charts blog. That's a little bit more longer form content, a little more nuanced approach to how I'm seeing the market overall. But guys, thank you for tuning in this week. Continue to watch the market. Forget about CPI, FBI, PPI, and just look at the charts. Trust price because it knows best. Peace.